Soma, understood on an esoteric level, is a transformative essence that you can access through meditation. And this is where Tantric yoga comes into play. Tantric yoga developed from traditions that were already in place. Tantra is timeless. Yoga is timeless. Aryanism is timeless. It is not a linear progressive system that begins with one God and ends with one God. It is the recognition of eternal divinity that is shared amongst individuated expressions of godhood. And how do you access that individuated expression of godhood? You become immortal. This is what is taught by Tantric yoga. This is what is taught within the Greek mysteries. This is what is taught within Taoism. You become immortal. You find the nectar pill. You find access to Soma. And then you cultivate the Soma in the gut, in the Manipura. You generate the inner fire or the thumos, whatever you want to call it. It's a perennial tradition. It's expressed in many different ways. You know, guts. You got to have guts to live forever. You have to be willing to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I want to live forever. I want to be a god. I want my actions to echo into eternity, and they deserve to echo into eternity. That's the first thing you have to say. That's immediate blasphemy against the prevailing socio-religious system of Abrahamism, which says there is one God and there is no God before me. Well, there were a lot of gods before Yahweh.
Yeah.
And it's even admitted in the Bible that there were a lot of gods before Yahweh. But we had this one individual who establishes his cult as the only cult. That is the opposite of what we express within Aryanism. Aryanism is music. Everything is music. Everything is a frequency. Everything is sound. We have associations, for example, between the chakras and musical notes, like the Muladhara chakra, the root chakra, as they call it in the West, is associated with the note of C. So it's the root. Everything can be seen in terms of music or heard in terms of music, right? Abrahamic, music is playing one frequency, one sound.
Mm-hmm.
And for certain people who want to be part of the dream or the nightmare of that monotheistic God and just be a tendril of that God, that's the music that they want to hear. For some people, that is their dharma. They are an expression of that one principle. But this is actually quite rare. And few people are truly in alignment with that dharma, convinced that this is what is right for them, that there is absolute good and evil. They cannot question this principle. They are trapped on the checkerboard, the Masonic checkerboard, the Kabbalistic checkerboard, the Abrahamic checkerboard, being totally slotted into that white square of what is good, or totally slotted into that black square of what is good. And that restricts you from understanding what is your dharma, not a universal expression of dharma. We have universal expressions of dharma. There is, in fact, only one universal expression of dharma, which we call the monistic point. That's where everything comes together into one, is dissolved into one. That means that there is no hot and cold. There is no pleasure or pain. There is no young or old. There is nothing but oneness. And when everything is one, there is no contrast. You cannot see yourself in relation to anything else within that monistic framework. So everything is dissolved at that point. That is the universal dharma. There are also individuated expressions of dharma that we associate with Shakti, with the mother force, with the thing that separates, breaks things into pieces. And if we are going to exist as an individuated expression of divinity, we have to escape the checkerboard. And that means going to that monistic point, having that realization of the potency of the masculine, which we call Shiva in the Aryan tradition, and also many other names. But we'll use the term Shiva now. Shiva is a god. Shiva is also a tattva, or an element of consciousness, a frequency, a sound.
A principle.
And that sound, a principle, yes. And that sound is silence, inertia, everything gone. So this is the Shiva principle expressed in purity. You can't even label it. This is why in the Abrahamic tradition, Catholics, Jews, doesn't matter. Those who are initiated into the depth of the tradition will tell you that God is unknowable. The name of God is unknowable. We can call him Shem. It doesn't matter. We can call him Yahweh. These are just illusions for what is the essential principle of divinity in those traditions, which is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot know God in that tradition. Now, what separates that tradition from Arianism fundamentally is that not only can you know God, you are a God. And the way that you know your own divinity is to see the divinity in everything that surrounds you. Ali, you are a God. I am a God. This is a God. These are all frequencies of divinity.
Cowboy hat.
Yes, this is a God. And speaking of cowboys, you mentioned the pastoral quality of the
Mm-hmm.
Aryans. Well, the reason why the Aryans got on the back of horses and began to ride is because they were chasing the sun, the rising sun. When the sun rises, so does Soma.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Manipura. Little synchronicity here. I didn't
Yeah.
mean to pick up the Manipura to demonstrate that, but that is the frequency, the music of the Manipura. It's the inner fire.
Yep.
So when you chase the sun, you're chasing that rising force to always be rising. And you go west. And that's what the Aryans did. They went west. They spread out in search of that rising sun because they sought divinity and they sought immortality and they could find it in the sun. That's the true solar aspect of Aryan culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's not there is the Sahasrara crown solar aspect, but the original meaning of the solar principle within Aryanism is found in the gut, in the rajas, in the self-expression. So that's what we are culturally. We are soma drinkers, and there are those who want to restrict us from the soma. Once we have the realization of divinity and escaping the confines of good and evil by recognizing non-duality in that monistic point, then we return. And
Mm-hmm.
when we make our return, we find the mother, and we integrate the mother and the father and find the middle way at the anahata in the rajas, which is the expression of Buddhahood. That's the Aryan culture. It's a radical change from the way that people perceive reality now, because reality is shaped by the prevailing socio-religious system, which is Abrahamism, which
Mm-hmm.
will deny you access to that realization of Buddhahood in the middle way.
For the full lecture, click the link posted in the pinned comment down below.